Hello, and welcome to another episode of Phil and Adam at the Tubies. This week, we'll be discussing The Toxic Avenger from 1984. The film was directed by Lloyd Kaufman, who's credited as Samuel Weil, Michael Hertz. The story was made by Lloyd Kaufman, screenplay by Joe Ritter. It stars quite a cast of characters, actually. We'll focus just on our main character, the Toxic Avenger, who Mark Torgel is our lead hero before he is mutated. Kenneth Kessler provides the voice of the post-mutation Toxie, and Mitch Cohen is the physical actor playing the Toxic Avenger. The box office take is hard to ascertain. It's kind of before the era that this was being kept track of like it is today. I was able to find in the AFI files that in 1989, so about 5 years after the movie's released, the director and head of the production company, Lloyd Kaufman, said that the movie had grossed a total of about $15 million. Now, this is probably also taking into account the VHS sales. The budget was around $470,000 to $500,000. Grab your bowl of popcorn and get your sweatpants on as we enjoy a movie from the comfort of our own homes, with regular ad breaks, of course. We tonight dare to beg the question, is this to be or not to be? And I'm going to start it off. I'm going to say not to be.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to second that. I'm gonna say it's a not to be.
Not to be. Not to
Not to
be.
be.
Not to be. But speaking of to be,
To be, yes.
to be, speaking of, we're reaching out officially now, second episode of the podcast. This is to you, Tubi. We would love a sponsorship. Get Tubi to sponsor us. Guys, get out there, get in the streets, get on social media. Second episode. We're going to
We're
obviously keep doing this
starving.
till the end of time. We're starving. We are starving. I can't eat. I'm so thin.
We need a big to be bucket of popcorn.
I need a big Tubi bucket of popcorn.
And if we don't get it, well, you guys don't want to know what's gonna happen.
You guys, well, actually, I think they might find out if it doesn't happen. They might find out.
Something they couldn't imagine is gonna go wrong if we don't get this sponsorship. So
We're gonna dive into a barrel of toxic waste.
a barrel of toxic waste and go crazy on the town.
Yeah. Anything you want to tell the people, Adam?
I don't think I dislike the movie as much as you. I know you were lamenting a little earlier that you really disliked the movie.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy some parts of the movie. I think it was very raunchy and absurd and kind of silly. There wasn't a lot I feel to grasp onto. It was very an on the surface kind of B movie. You know, out of the things that you critique, you'd like to find something beneath the surface. You'd like to evaluate it and find something that wasn't just kind of put in your face. And I don't really think this movie does. I don't think that's what they meant to do.
There was all
You
right.
know?
So I mean, what a great second pick for us is that we really have what a great foil to Frankenhooker. Honestly, is that those the words you use just to describe it, raunchy, in your face, silly, absurd, whatever. Those also describe the last week's film, Frankenhooker. But that movie had something to grasp onto, had something to say. There was a reason it was like that. We talked so much about the politics that the movie had of sex work, Nancy Reagan's drug. We have so much to talk about in politics. This movie has nothing. You know what? Nothing to say. You know what I'm going to say? It was I kept thinking this the whole movie. This is a movie made for theater kids. This is
Oh yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like it just in its affect, in its emotive style, it is 100% a movie that has this ADHD brain, performance like, oh my god, wouldn't it be so funny if we did this? Wouldn't it be so funny if we did this? And you know what they did? They left nothing on the cutting room floor. Everything is in this movie. Every fucking joke, there's so many things in this movie. There's just so many gags that just keep going that aren't funny. They're just not funny. Like the biggest one I have to point out is the Nazi police chief.
Yeah, I noticed that.
he's just a not. He's just like I guess he's a Nazi on the run or something, and that's just kind of the whole joke. It's just, he keeps saying "Mein Führer." He's like a German accent. He keeps doing the Roman salute. Yeah, I didn't. I never laughed once at that, and it kept happening, and it just was fucking stupid.
I also noticed that if you go through the many sequels that the movie has, it seems to be a running theme. Very briefly, as I was going through the clips, I noticed that,
Was a Nazi?
yeah, in like the fourth movie, the Tubi clip that you watch is like the intro for it. He's just got the Hitler mustache. I don't know what the, and it's from 2000. That movie, the fourth movie, is from 2000.
Well, they're all directed and written. They're all like directed and made by Lloyd Kaufman. And I mean, I you know what? I'm going to say this. I'm not trying to insinuate anything by saying this. Is that Lloyd Kaufman? He has made films in Israel. He is Jewish, and maybe that there is something to it where, like, he's from the Mel Brooks school of like just always be making fun of Hitler, and maybe that's what it is. Like he just always finds the need to sneak in jokes poking fun at Nazis in his films. Maybe that I assume so. I assume so. I did not. I'm not saying that he said it himself.
Directing that joke at law enforcement.
Like yeah, he's equating them to being Nazis and at the same time making fun of Nazis. Because the Mel Brooks quote is always make fun of Hitler, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Mel Brooks, very much more talented filmmaker than this guy. He said always be making fun of Hitler, never shy away from it. Always make fun of him. Always make fun of Nazis. Always take the chance and the opportunity. Mel Brooks, Jewish filmmaker. God, I wanted to like this so much more than I did.
Like the villains were kind of crazy and out there. Like their names were Bozo and Slug.
Bozo, Slug. What the fuck was their deal, dude? They were running over people for fun.
Yeah, they were running over people for fun. The mayor, the mayor was like a big,
He was a dirty fat mayor, but he was
yeah,
he was
dirty
he
fat
was
mayor.
he was on the take for criminals and mobsters.
He's like, they found all the criminals except for
Not
us.
all of them.
Not all of them.
That actually did get a laugh out of me when he's like snarling. He's like, "No, you're wrong. He didn't get all the criminals. We're still here." The mayor was actually my favorite part of the movie. The mayor was the only part that made me laugh. There's one point he's getting a massage. He's it's like a really really quick shot. He's getting a massage and he's got a 6 foot sub next to him and
Yeah, he's got
eating
the
as he's
6 foot
getting
sub. Yeah,
the.
and the guy comes in. The guy comes in with the money. He's like, put it on the table.
He's eating the sub.
Although I did, you know, some people may not like the gruesome deaths in the movie. It is from the 80s, so there is a lot of practical effects.
Also being from the 80s, tits out in
It's
the
out.
80s. Lots of
It's
tits in
out,
this
yeah.
movie.
Very gruesome deaths.
The one guy he's got in the milkshake thing. He like builds a milkshake in his mouth and he sticks a little wand down his throat and he just turns it on. He eviscerates his brain stem or whatever through fucking God. It's so gruesome, man. And it's not like funny gruesome. It's just grotesque and over the top just for the sake of being so.
Like all the background characters that are like the hostages in the situations where the crime is going on, and then the toxic Avenger.
They're scared shitless, dude.
Most of the movie are just these sequences where crime is about to happen, and then he shows up at the last minute to foil it, and then gruesomely rips apart the villains, the
Oh my
criminals.
god, dude. Except the one time, actually, he just murders that old woman who turns out to be a criminal.
Yeah, that
That took me for a
took me for a
spin.
ride there. Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't like that part. That was not funny to me.
I was like, this poor old short lady. What did
Oh
she
my
do?
god!
He
What
threw her in the
she
washing
just tried to
machine.
she just tried to get her laundry done. He threw her in the washing machine. He fucking perm pressed her.
She showed up to the laundromat, and she's like, "Here are my son's cum pants."
Oh my
And
god!
then
Yeah.
and then he showed up and threw her in the washing machine. And then he
Dude,
hit her with the dryer. He like did
dude,
like the
yeah,
press, like the
yeah.
get out the wrinkles.
And then I don't know. Did you notice afterwards? Right, the mayor is about to hold the press conference because they're like, finally, finally, he's killed an innocent woman, so we can finally peg him and we can finally just shoot him dead in the street with no questions asked. Finally, the Nazi police chief comes up, and he's like, "But mein Führer." It turns out she led a white slavery ring. Did you notice that? Because they said white
Yeah,
slavery ring, not slavery ring, white slavery ring. What's with that?
I guess they had a some kind of point to make. That's what I was trying to decipher.
What is this movie about?
What's going on?
So the tagline is the first superhuman hero, ellipses, from New Jersey. And I guess it's supposed to like be a joke, like, oh haha, like he's like, the Avengers have New York City and Batman has Gotham, and all these major cities. This is the superhero for New Jersey. Like, he's kind of B level. He doesn't deal with the big problems. First of all, also they never even say it's in New Jersey in the movie. You could pick up on it because it's like, yeah, like it's either Long Island or New Jersey, because they say all of the toxic waste from New York City is getting dumped into the outer lying areas. So it has to either be Long Island or New Jersey. They never once specify in the film it's in New Jersey. You could just kind of tell from the accents and the fact that like this Manhattan skylines in the background. I really do. This movie is so disappointing, especially with we talked about last week. They have the remake coming out. I thought that there was going to be something worth remaking, and it's just not. This is a movie made for fucking not even industry people, I'm going to say, but for theater kids. For theater kids. And that is an insult. I say that insultingly. This movie is not good. Just straight up not good. It's never rarely did I laugh. Most of the time I was confused. I did not enjoy it. And all right. Oh, one other thing I have to say I didn't fucking like about this fucking movie. The editing. The editing. This editor should be taken out back and shot, dude. This editor for this film was so terrible. It was edited like a Marvel movie. There was a cut every 15 seconds. I couldn't tell what was going on. It just kept cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting. It didn't let me see anything, which for a movie from this era is surprising, because they're not they don't have that many cameras to film on, and they needed film. They needed celluloid. Like how much of this $500,000 budget was with cameras and celluloid? Because they obviously were shooting from too many fucking angles.
I'm curious about whether movies are bad and they aim to be bad, or they're bad and they're not trying to be bad.
This movie very obviously aimed to be bad. It aimed to be. It wanted to be a B movie. It wanted to be. This one. Have you ever seen any Ed Wood movies?
No.
This is trying to be an Ed Wood movie, but you can't aim at being that, because it happens. Like, it just in the set design being crappy, and in the costuming being bad, and in the acting being bad, but it kind of becomes something different, where then like there's character and spirit to it. When you try on the outset to make a movie like that, you're just making a bad movie. And that's what this is. It is a knowingly made bad movie, and that's all it is. It is not better than that. It is not better than some of its parts. The editing is bad. The acting is bad. God, the ADR for the Toxic Avenger is
Really bad.
bad. It's so bad. But I feel like I've been meandering. I've been talking too much. Please bring up something else that you think, Adam.
No,
I'm like getting
I
myself
agree with
upset
you.
thinking about it.
I tried to look for moments in the movie that would surprise me or show me something interesting that I wouldn't have gotten on the surface. Like there was a moment he's walking back after he murdered the old lady and put her in the washing machine, and he goes back to Sarah, his blind girlfriend, that he keeps at the toxic waste dump where they live. And he's walking through the toxic waste, and she's like reading a braille book. book, and it keeps cutting back and forth to him trotting through the toxic waste. And on the floor, it has on the floor in the toxic waste.
Oh, it has that
It,
Richard Nixon book.
yeah, the Richard Nixon, the six crises, and I like didn't know about the book, but I had assumed because it showed the book that it was purposeful, that it tried to say something about the book, and I couldn't piece together maybe what it was trying to say. Maybe there's some political context that it's trying to allude to. That's what some superhero movies are.
Yeah, that's the one moment that it would have done that. There's nothing else in this movie is a metaphor for anything. Because look, in my opinion, like good sci-fi, good fantasy, stuff like that, like they're metaphors for experiences that humanity has gone through, right? Or they're retellings of stories that we already know, but in this new kind of way. The Toxic Avenger is a metaphor for nothing. The Toxic Avenger has nothing to say. The Toxic Avenger has no outlook on life. The Toxic Avenger has no substance. It is all show, and it is a bad show.
It is cynical.
I cannot for the life of me wrap my head around why this is so beloved. I cannot.
Maybe because it's so hacky. It's so hacky.
It's so, but like it's so purposeful. Like what I really, the moment I really decided to give up on this movie, the moment I decided to was the restaurant when he meets Sarah. Is they have the gang of three individuals who come into the Mexican restaurant that has samurai swords hanging on the wall. Three ne'er do wells enter the restaurant and attempt to rob the place. And they're 1980s movies criminals, so obviously they're like gonna have their fun, and they're very much like very very like over the top, very animated, giggling, laughing about it. They have face paint on, a la like the Warriors, and they attempt to assault Sarah. They kill a man trying to like defend somebody, and then there's the one cook who's like fat and is like he's so fat his stomach is like pouring out of his shirt, and he like reaches into his pants under his I don't even know, under his dick or whatever, and he pulls out a little pint of whiskey. When he pulls the whiskey out, it makes this little boom, little popping sounds. Like there was such pressure that like it's finally released. That was the exact moment I gave up on this movie. That was like, okay, this movie's a bunch of bullshit. This movie's bad. Not funny. This movie's not funny. Also, I have to say, speaking of, I just brought it up, the little boom sound, the Foley artist on this movie. Foley artists? That guy needs to be taken out back and shot. That was so the Foley like I think they did that intentionally to be like, oh, everything this is we're just gonna do it bad. We're gonna do it bad. It's just bad. It like it took me out. Like, oh my god, every time someone pulls a gun out, every time there's always this really terrible swooshing sound. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. And it pissed me off, dude. It made me mad. Oh my god. Kill the Foley artist who worked on this movie. Horrible, horrible work, and it never made me laugh. One sound effect never made me laugh. It just pissed me the fuck off.
Maybe there is a bit of a metaphor, though, now that I think about it. There's a scene toward the end of the movie where the mayor calls in the National Guard to go kill Melvin, the Toxic Avenger. And there's a few scenes where it keeps cutting back to the people that have been rescued by Melvin, and they all keep saying the same thing. They keep saying, "What are we going to do? We're just the little guy." Maybe there's something there about being the because Melvin is,
Well, he was, yeah, he was a little guy.
and he's the nicest person in the movie before that happens. He's such a like he's a dork, but he's like trying his best, and everyone is a monster around him.
Everyone is a terrible human being. Oh my god. They're selling cocaine in the hell in the gym's locker room. They're running over children for fun. Oh my god. The people of Tromaville are terrible people, man. They're gonna assault Sarah just because she's blind. God. The human beings of Tromaville are disgusting. They don't deserve salvation, man. The one dude who just finds him on the street, and he's like, he tries to like sell her
Yeah, out of the limo.
The little in the limo, he tries to sell the Toxic Avenger a little girl, 12 years old. She's 12 years old for $12. The limo's like a clown car. All these men come out to attack the Toxic Avenger for not being willing to engage in this. And it's like all of these men are willing to back this dude up. All these dudes are like, yeah. Also, if you're charging $12, how are you affording to pay these men? They're doing it for the love of the fucking game. They're doing it for the love of the game. That's horrible. These are horrible people. This place, you know what the movie says, like the toxic waste capital of the world, Tromaville. And you know what? You're right. It is the toxic waste capital. But I'll tell you what, it's not the industrial waste, it's the human beings of the town that make it so fucking toxic. There's no redeeming quality about anything in this movie. Everything is just shit. It's just shit, and then the Toxic Avenger comes in, brutally murders people, and then it just cuts to the next thing that he has to brutally murder. That's what this movie is. There is no redemption for anybody until the very end of the movie, where they band together and they say, National Guard, don't fucking shoot him. My God, man. I'm like getting upset talking about this. This movie is so bad. I wanted to, maybe it's because I had too high expectations for it, in that it does have this celebrated history, kind of beloved throughout the years. You know, they made this remake, and it's fucking Kevin Bacon and Peter Dinklage, all these big actors in it, and obviously there has to be some love for this movie. And I'm telling you right now, I'm asking you right now, why? Also, gotta say, so the first two times he brutally murders people, he puts a mop on them, like in their mouths.
Yeah.
I guess it's like a double layer thing because the first he was a janitor, so he knows what mops are, and I guess it's kind of like a joke, like, oh, he's cleaning up crime, ha ha ha. And then he just doesn't do it again. He just doesn't. He brutally murders a lot of people, but he only does it twice with the mop in the restaurant and in Cigar Face.
There was a lot of scenes. He murdered a lot of people. He killed a
Yeah,
lot of
dude, that's
people.
what I'm saying. The editor too. The editor has to be taken back out and shot. There were so many scenes, just cut, 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 cut. Like just, and there was no lead in. There was no thought given to it. It would just boom, like out of nowhere. Like, all right, like something else is happening now. Like, all right, I'm gonna compare it, and it's just not a deserved comparison. Is one of the greatest, one of the most fun film experiences I've ever had in a theater is going to a midnight showing of Rocky Horror Picture Show. And when you go and you do things like that, like, you know, that they hire comedians, and like they come in, and like, you know, everyone kind of is riffing on the movie, and it's like the audience is all laughing. And because it's so silly, and because the movie is what it is, it kind of promotes that whole atmosphere and environment. And this movie is gearing to be that, right? This movie is gearing to be the midnight showing where everybody's laughing together and everybody's cracking jokes together and everyone's noticing things, going, oh my God, like, that's what this movie wanted to be. But again, you can't go on the outset and make that. It has to be warranted. Like, you can't make a movie and say, all right, we're gonna shoot this, and then I know the audience is gonna pick up on that this is shitty, and they're gonna laugh at that. But I'm actually gonna make it so that that happens that way. No, you can't. Sorry, you can't do that. Not my opinion. You can't do that.
Well, beloved art is not always good art.
This is not good art.
No.
This is not good art. This is not. This is something created where the creators thought they were being smart, but in actuality, they're fucking idiots. And this is quote, and I'm gonna butcher it so badly, but it's basically like, satire requires clear vision and direction in what it's trying to satirize, lest it become the exact material it's seeking to satirize. And this movie was trying to, on the outset, have this clear vision and focus and be something to make fun of this thing that it wanted to make fun of. But in actuality, they just made more art in the space of the thing they're trying to make fun of. They did not make a funny movie making fun of bad movies. They just made a bad movie. And all right, I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna lead in to some fun facts. Mostly concerning the director, story guy, and kind of overall steward of the Toxic Avenger and its many, many forms. There's 5 films in the series, including the reboot that's coming out at some point, even though it released, technically speaking, 2 years ago. They just have not been able to find a distributor. He's been with the franchise the whole time. He's been behind it every time. Lloyd Kaufman. He owns the production studio that made and distributed the movie, which is called Troma Entertainment. Some fun facts about Lloyd Kaufman. He was a student at Yale. His classmates included George W. Bush and Oliver Stone. Oliver Stone, a very famous director. He made the JFK movie. He made the Nixon movie. He made the Fear and Loathing movie. He's a very, very good director. His movies usually center around politics. Lloyd Kaufman was an early collaborator of John Avildsen, who was the director of Rocky and The Karate Kid. Most of the money that Troma Entertainment made is because of Lloyd Kaufman's connections to other people in the industry. The machines used for editing for the Rocky movie were owned by Troma Entertainment. Can you believe that?
Wow.
The very first Rocky movie was edited on the same machines that edited this movie.
What a world of difference.
I know. Lloyd Kaufman would serve as production designer, set designer, scout. He would do any job that would be given to him by his other famous cohorts, like Oliver Stone and John Avildsen. And that's how a lot of the money he got to finance these movies happened, where he would just get work from his more famous friends, and he would just go back and he'd be like, all right, time to make Toxic Avenger 3 after he'd worked long enough. He, I guess, in some way was like a mentor to James Gunn, if you can believe that in some way. Or maybe James Gunn just likes this movie a lot because Lloyd Kaufman cameoed in a lot of early James Gunn movies like Slither and Super. And also, the fact I brought up earlier is that Lloyd Kaufman has made a lot of movies in the Israeli cinema scene. So that's your opinion, whatever you feel about that. I just thought it was an interesting fact to bring up. And really, honestly, I mean, that's last week. I had so many fun facts to bring up about the other movie. And it just does not. It seems like Lloyd Kaufman, the way that he operates, is like insular and is so totally focused on making these movies. He doesn't like everything he did was in service of making more Toxic Avenger movies. He loves the series. He loves these films. And I respect that. I really do. I don't like them. I respect his dedication and his drive to make more of the movies that he loves making. Last week we got to talk about how the other movies they were working on got them in touch with famous people, and then those famous people in turn watched the movies they made and they liked them. I could not for the life of me find a single quote by John Avildsen or Oliver Stone on the Toxic Avenger. Even though in the movie, the year of the movie's release, the two of them were at the height of their fame and were consistently working with Lloyd Kaufman, it does not seem like either of them made a public comment on the Toxic Avenger. Because I don't think they liked it. Because they're good filmmakers and they know what a good film and a bad film is. And they recognize a bad film, but they also say, okay, our friend made it, so let's just keep our mouths shut instead of saying anything about it.
That's nice of them.
That's nice of them. Yeah, the nicest that doesn't that really put some perspective in it? And the nicest thing that they could do is not say a word about this movie.
If you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all.
Kill half the town violently.
Maybe the Toxic Avenger is a metaphor for his artistic lack.
It's not a metaphor, Adam. It's an example of it. His movie's not a meta. It is a direct example of the fact that Lloyd Kaufman cannot make a good movie. I was able to find in its first 3 days of release, made about $150,000, somewhere in that range. Different sources say different things. Somewhere $140,000 to $150,000 in its first 3 days of release, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Its lifespan in theaters was longer than the typical movie because it was a regular midnight feature at the Bleecker Street movie theater in Manhattan. And that's where most of its fame comes from, in the fact that it was that midnight showing creature feature that they were able to get young kids in on and watch. And can you imagine It's 1985, 1986. You and I are hanging out, and at least we're getting high. We're smoking that sweet leaf, and we say, you know what we want to do? We want to go watch a midnight movie. Do you think in that time, if in that way, if we went and watched this movie, do you think we would have liked it?
Maybe,
Maybe.
maybe, maybe.
We wouldn't have been exposed to other good B movies.
You always need that mirror. You always need that reflection of good and bad. Something to show you what the good is. You need the bad to appreciate the good. If I was a child, if I was an adolescent in 1984 and I was impressionable and I found this funny, but I found it funny in the wrong way that would act like this were funny, like the way that these characters acted. I understand maybe it's supposed to be a parody, but there's something also today in like the something odd about in the political climate that people those like satirizations, those like absurd, ridiculous behaviors that people exhibit almost become normative.
Yeah, I really like. I want to be able to say something positive about this movie. And I really, you know what, also I noticed too is that at first I started taking notes, much in the same way for last week. I started taking notes on things and creative decisions in the movie that I found odd. Like in the beginning, he says, I gave the manager $15 and we have the whole gym for the night. He's got alcohol in his locker. And I wrote, it's like $15 just to rent the whole gym. And he's alcohol in his locker? That's crazy. And then those moments just kept going where like there were these absurd, like asynchronous with popular society things and actions that people were doing and saying that like I wanted to comment on, but the movie just kept doing them that's just the vibe of the movie. That's just the vibe the movie has. Like last week there was moments, but otherwise people kind of acted in line with how you act in society, with what you do, with like how a person carries themselves, which provided a good backdrop to make the absurd plot more powerful and more funny and more interesting when the world that it exists in is not like it's our world. It's that, that someone going and creating a Frankenstein of their dead fiance in our reality is weird. Someone going and creating a Frankenstein in the reality that the movie we watched last week is in is still weird. This week, the Toxic Avenger doing what he's doing and acting the way he's acting is not weird because everything is weird. Everything is strange. Nothing as is what it should be, as it is in our reality. So there is no stakes, there is no drama behind any of his actions because it's constantly undercut by the stupid fucking shit everyone else is constantly doing. Like, okay, all right. Also, too, I want to bring up this movie kind of homophobic, like randomly
Racist
homophobic,
and
racist too,
racist, sexist.
racist, sexist, but not in the way that like the characters who are partaking in these things, they're not like the villains. The movie's language and way it treats those characters is just racist and sexist and homophobic. That's just what it is. The movie is just what it is.
Like when they're in the car, like when they're in the car and they're driving and they're noting that the point system for the people that they hit.
She says a million slurs at once. I didn't know you could say those kinds of words in a movie as late as in 1984 and not have that person immediately die.
And then they run over a kid.
And then they run over a kid on a bike, but he's not dead. So they reverse over him and they have a shot of the tire rolling over his head and squishing it like a pancake. And it takes, and you know what's so weird too is that it takes until almost the very end of the movie for them to get any justice. This movie is about an hour and a half long, and they don't see justice until like an hour and 20 minutes in. Isn't that crazy that they just lived almost the entire runtime of the movie? Like he doesn't like, he isn't like, he turned into the Toxic Avenger and then immediately goes on his vengeance spree. He doesn't do that with them, the people who caused him to turn into this thing. So basically, I guess I should explain is that the reason he becomes a Toxic Avenger is he's the janitor in the health club. The kind of the main villains of the movie is these two couples. and one of the girlfriends in one of the couples convinces him that she wants to sleep with him. So she says, come to the pool, and we'll make love." And the lights turn on, and everyone's laughing at him because they got a goat or like a sheep or something, and he's like caressing the sheep, and she made him put on this pink tutu outfit, and he's so embarrassed, and they're all this huge crowd of people just laughing at him. He runs away. He jumps out of a window. He jumps out of a third-story window to get away. That part made me laugh. I will admit to you. He whoop. I was watching the movie and I was wondering if his plan was actually just to kill himself right there and then because he was so embarrassed.
You know, it was funny that the sequence of events where the toxic waste drivers pulled over in
Yeah,
front of
they
that
pull
directly in
they
front of
pull
the
over
health
to
club
do
to
some.
do
They pull
dope.
over to snort heroin, dude, and they do so much. So it's the same thing. I don't know what it is about filmmakers in the 1980s and not knowing how much drugs it takes to get you high. Because again, this week, the two drivers pull over to snort heroin, and they have gallon-sized Ziploc bags full of so much heroin that they're sticking their faces in, and they're just getting covered like it's bread flour, and it's flying everywhere. They're just but their face is full into a gallon bag.
And he falls out of the bucket onto the ground, writhing in pain. This horrible, monstrous thing, and he runs home and he's in the bathroom and his hair is falling out and he's transforming in the bathtub into the Toxic Avenger. And his mom keeps knocking on the door.
We have to connect. So he jumps into the third story window, and the people who are the two drivers who are snorting their heroin have decided to park their truck right outside the health club. So he jumps slam on into a toxic waste barrel, and that is how he is transformed into the Toxic Avenger.
You know, I feel as though we could probably just describe the movie and it might be funner than watching the movie.
I think yeah, but you know what I don't want to do? I don't want to recount the tell. I had fun last week recounting what happened in the movie and thinking back on it and laughing. Recounting events from this week's film, is making me upset. I'll be honest, I'm getting upset just thinking like it wasted my time. It really did. I did not enjoy any of this movie. Like so you brought up earlier like how many slurs that they were saying. It's like relatives, like they get points for who they run over. I wrote in my notes here. I said point system. What the fuck? And then holy shit, they kill a kid and they take pictures. Like there's just so many moments in this is that there's me just like reacting very negatively in my notes to what's happening on screen. Like I'm not enjoying it. It's not funny to me. They laugh at it. So when he falls into the toxic waste barrel, all these people see him writhing on the ground in pain, his skin and flesh burning off, and they start laughing at him again. And I say in my notes, I say they laugh at him fucking dying. And then I just kind of stopped taking notes about events in the film, and I more so just like am being like if it's about like set design and stuff. I can't say anything more about the plot because it's just so ridiculous. It's so bad, and it wants to beget us laughing, but I can feel that it does it. It makes me not want to laugh.
I think the thing about it is that the people who would laugh at it are the psychopaths who kind of would act like that. That's the point I was trying to make earlier about like us maybe seeing this movie being more impressionable in that time frame where that kind of like 90s, 80s, 70s bully who's just mean and there's nothing really complex to it and he's just kind of an asshole, but those assholes find the other assholes funny. That's what, you know, I'm no Einstein, but I think maybe you're a bit of an idiot if you found that stuff funny. And not that you know, I'm not an idiot sometimes and don't find ridiculous things funny.
Did you just say people who find this movie funny are stupid? Because I agree. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. People who find this movie funny are fucking stupid.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know the
Yeah, yeah, like Biff Tannen types, the Biff Tannen types.
exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking of.
This movie was made for Biff Tannen from Back to the Future.
like who will give you a wedgie and laugh at it. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Uh-huh. Exactly.
it could have been funny. I thought
It could have been.
I thought on paper it was interesting. I like the artwork. I thought the premise of the movie was fascinating. Just the execution was
Was got every point of the execution, the acting, the writing, the editing, the foley art, the set design, everything was awful, and not in the way that you can laugh at it, because it just is not. It's not funny awful. It's just awful. It's boring awful. It's in fact it's quite mean. This movie is quite mean.
it is mean.
It's mean. It looks down on its subject material. It looks down on people, and it doesn't. It's not fun.
Fun fact though,
Fun facts.
I don't know if we'll ever get that Tubi sponsorship because this is Mr. Tubi's favorite movie.
No, we
Mr.
just
John
called him
Tubi,
stupid. John Tubi. No,
he loves this movie.
we're not gonna get the fuck, dude. You just called him stupid.
He is stupid.
He's stupid if he likes this fucking
He's
movie.
stupid.
John,
But
you would hey John Tubi. You're an idiot. I have nothing else to say. I can go on and on and on about how little I liked it, but realistically, I cannot add more to the conversation. Um,
well, there is one good thing that came out of this week. We did get our first piece of fan mail, everyone.
no way.
One episode, we got our first piece of fan mail
We got a piece of like in the mail.
in the mail. Let me go run and get it.
Okay, it's crazy how they know your address. I can't believe it. Wow, we're really hitting it big, really fast. I'm not ready for this level of fame. I'm gonna pretend I don't know you anymore.
Let's open the letter.
Okay, open.
Dear Phil and Adam, your first episode of At the Tubies was wonderful. It's truly made me a fan of movies. I think, in fact, because of your review, I will watch my first movie. Love you. See you soon. Goodbye. Wow, that was weird.
You said he said what? He said his first Tubi movie?
No, his first movie.
His first movie. He's never seen a movie.
He's never seen a movie. He's going to watch his. Isn't that
His
great, man?
first.
Isn't that
That's
nice that we have an
wow.
impact? He's going to watch his first movie.
That's exactly what I want to happen. I want to encourage people to watch movies, and you know what? His first movie ever. You say?
First movie. He's never seen one, he says. Oh, there's something on the back. There's something on the back. Oh,
Okay.
I can't read what he said on the back.
Oh, why not?
It's not it's not for a listening audience.
Is it like is it explicit?
It's very explicit.
Oh, like
It
sexually?
says as raunchy as the Toxic Avenger.
Oh
Not
no.
appropriate for audiences.
Oh no. That's not good. Well,
And
at
there's a
least.
Polaroid.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh.
okay. I'm gonna burn this piece of fan mail.
Okay. Okay. I don't. We should cut this part. We should not bring up that we got the fan mail. All right. Do you want to say anything else? I'm ready to close this out.
No, I mean, hopefully up next episode will be better. Hopefully we'll enjoy the Tubi movie.
Hopefully, yeah. That's the one thing I hate about loading up Tubi and watching a movie is that we don't like the Tubi movie. I do not endeavor to find a not to be. I want it to be.
I want it to be as well.
I want it to be. All right.
Well, thank you once again for joining us at the Tubies. We hope this was as much fun for you as it was for us. Until next week, this is Phil and Adam turning off the TV and going back to scrolling on our phones for an infinite amount of time. From both of us, have a great night.
Have a great